Hey everyone, it's Pooh again with yet another video. Oh my gosh, I haven't done 2 videos in a single week since I first started. And hopefully I'll have better success with this one than I did the last one. Because the last one drove me nuts. I couldn't even make it through the whole damn video before I had to give up on it. Because some of these people are freaking nuts. So we're going to try, okay, we're still sticking with TYT, Facebook TYT. I swear to God, Facebook TYT is even the pit of TYT. It's the pit. But we're going to move from some, I don't know, Turkish, Caucasian hybrid over to the gingeresty of all gingers at TYT. Francis Maxwell. Let's do this.
Of course!
A towering quadruple murder suspect shuffled into jail, captured after a 36-hour manhunt that terrorized a community. Police say he was found with a backpack and a semi-automatic handgun.
Do you have any question about your charges or your bond?
No, I don't.
Well, so far so good. I mean, the news seems to be covering it pretty well. But here we have Francis Maxwell. I do the worst Gaelic or accent ever. I can't even remember this motherfucker is Irish or Scottish. And it's really irrelevant. Because Irish or Scottish, this dude's kind of a dumb fuck.
Take an absurdly frustrating journey through the despicable amount of that thing that people say doesn't exist. Oh, that white privilege thing?
Oh, shit. White privilege, yes. Even in an arrest, white privilege comes into play. Jesus Christ. Spoiler alert, he actually will not make a reference to Dylan Roof. Nope. Well, he doesn't need to, I guess.
That led up to, and then followed after the horrific Waffle House shooting. You know the shooting, right? The one that...
No. What shooting are you talking about? I have zero idea.
The current president has yet to acknowledge. Not the...
Jesus Christ. Does the president of the United States have to cover every shooting that fucking happens? I mean, is it within his presidential duties? Does it say anywhere, Mr. President, you must acknowledge every shooting that happens? God damn it, Francis. If he did that, he'd spend probably a good year just talking about all the deaths that have occurred in South Chicago.
Shooting, nor the victims, or even the outstanding act of bravery of James Shaw Jr.
I don't know if the president has come out and said anything since then. But does the president have to address that too? Does the president have to pay this particular hero, special acknowledgement? Because, Francis, knowing you and what I've seen of you, you'd insist that he would because, well, this guy's black. But that would be racist, wouldn't it? Excuse me. Oh, Jesus, the pancakes, sausage, and coffee are coming back to talk. Anyway, yeah, but that's what you would expect. But Francis, you see, you don't even understand, Francis, that when you ask for special privileges to be given to a certain person of color, which you insist happens, and by person of color, I don't mean black people, I mean anybody of any color. Unlike you fucking racist. But if the president does that, well, that's racist. If he pays particular attention to somebody of any color because of their color.
Who, while unarmed, disarmed the shooter before he fled.
And again, thank you, Mr. Shaw. Thank you for taking care of that motherfucker. If only you had the opportunity to really take care of the motherfucker. I mean, I'm not condoning death. I'm just saying, if he could have done something to make sure that that motherfucker didn't go on the run and potentially kill more people, that'd have been swell. But I'm sorry. I don't mean to tell this guy, why didn't you do more? He did enough. He did enough. You know, it's just me wishing that, you know, it would have been possible for him to do more. He did what he could within his capabilities, especially considering that he was unarmed. And that is not an excuse. You know, that is not a reason to say people don't have to be armed when facing an armed suspect.
I wonder why. So let's start.
No, you don't. You don't wonder why. God, Jesus Christ. Oh, it's fucking Hassan Piker. At least I've managed to get it. You know, and the only reason why I managed to get further along in this dumb shit's video is because he put that freaking news buffer at the beginning of it. You know, Hassan Piker said his shit. He didn't even set his shit up. He just went right at it. And 6 seconds in, I had to stop. I mean, you know, if Hassan Piker, you know, quick word of advice to Hassan Piker. If you want people like myself to be able to stick with your videos, which I know you don't, because we'll just deconstruct the motherfuckers. Put something where you're not talking in it for at least 30 seconds of the video.
From before this person committed this heinous act and review his shopping list of past incidents that, if committed by a person of colour, I'm pretty sure they'd either be shot or already behind bars before a single cop could say, "Feared for my life."
You're pretty sure? You're pretty sure? Well, that's not very convincing, Francis, you dumb ginger. That's not a convincing argument. I'm pretty sure is not a convincing argument. Oh, Jesus. I may have to mention this again. It's situational, Francis. You know, Francis, I'm kind of surprised that you motherfuckers never bring up the fact that more whites are killed by cops than blacks are. Okay, now, if you can talk about the per capita rate. I think at the per capita rate, it's probably higher for blacks because guess what? They are a significantly smaller group, demographic rather, in this country. Okay? But the fact of the matter is, if you want to look just at the numbers, more whites are killed than blacks. And the thing of it is, police have encounters with blacks still more often than they do with whites.
The list begins in Tazewell County, Illinois, where he demonstrated a troubling pattern involving guns and what one police report described.
Just as an aside, what, this guy thought that Taylor Swift was stalking him? Oh, jeez, that explains Twitter. I've been seeing Twitter, and people kept talking about T-Swizzle. Didn't know she was a fucking Snoop Dogg person. But keep talking about Twitter, how, you know, Taylor Swift had something to do with the shooting, and I just wasn't curious enough. All I needed to know was that this crazy motherfucker went and shot 4 people at a goddamn Waffle House. Didn't realize it's because Taylor had anything to do with it.
As delusional behavior. The report states, literally from law enforcement, that he is hostile towards police and does not recognize police authority. Travis also possesses several firearms. This was in 2016. Now, can you imagine if a police department had that information on a black suspect who then did any of the following? Stole a BMW and led police on a car chase, came out from his apartment wearing a pink dress, yelling at people holding a rifle, went to a public pool and exposed himself, approached the White House, threatening a Secret Service agent claiming he wanted to talk with the president, that he was a sovereign citizen. And then, just last week, of course, it was reported by a member of the community where Travis Ranking lived that he screamed racist abuse at people in a local supermarket.
Okay, well, let's consider this. There's a... I'm pretty sure that if Reiking actually posed a credible threat, for example, you know, his encounter at the White House, if he posed a credible threat, not just a crazy person, he probably would have been shot. You know, again, Francis, it's all about the situation. I mean, it's spectrum. It really is. You unfortunately seem to think that because, you know, if Reiking was black and he was trying to get in to see the president and behave the same way that that Reiking did, that, you know, because he was black, he just would have been shot. You know, the cops wouldn't have tried to apprehend him at all. Oh, fuck. I just don't get the thinking. It's all about the narrative, folks. I think anybody who has the same socio-political persuasion, and I do tend to see this as narrative.
Any of them. Just take any of them. Take your pick. Replace his skin color and ask yourself, does this man get the opportunity to storm into a Waffle House at 3 a.m. and kill people?
Yes, probably. You know, since probably or pretty sure seem to be valid arguments, I will toe the line on that and say, yeah, probably. For fuck's sakes. You know, just because we have instances around the country of blacks doing open carry and cops stopping them to ask them questions, maybe even arrest the guy, doesn't mean shit. Because, you know, there are also instances of whites open carrying and being stopped by the cops. And you know what, Francis? I've seen one video each of those instances happening. But you're not going to talk about that. You're only going to go, Jesus. Oh, am I going to make it, folks? I don't know.
I mean, Jesus, people, cops are being called on black people playing golf, sitting at Starbucks. Hell, even black cops are getting cops called on them.
Okay, so not to excuse that blacks are being called on while playing golf at a country club, but you know there is something for it. I mean, again, I'm not saying it's right, but there is something for it when historically blacks haven't populated golf clubs very often. For fuck's sakes, I would say that the percentage of blacks that even play golf compared to that of whites is pretty fucking extreme. I mean, Jesus Christ, we have only had one black/Asian American golf player in the game of pro golf in the history of the PGA. So, to my recollection, anyway. Now, Vijay Singh doesn't. I mean, that dude's really dark. He is darker than Tiger Woods. But we don't think of him as black the same way we think of Tiger Woods as black. Okay? Ah, shit.
For doing their job. I think even the white privilege deniers would have a wee problem justifying that one.
No, I have zero problem justifying it. Okay? Because, you know, no one's ever impersonated a police officer. Ever. Black, white, or other. No one's ever done that, Francis. Okay? And for fuck's sakes, the guy was using his flashlight, so we can pretty much presume that it was in the evening. Okay? If he's at a distance, who's going to be able to know whether or not this guy's in a fucking police uniform? Okay? And I'm sorry. There is nothing wrong with them calling the police department to say, hey, let's say that they could see his uniform here. What's wrong with somebody calling the police department saying, hey, do you have somebody here that's supposed to be investigating? You know, because this cop's just kind of looking in people's windows and shit. Because guess what? Even if it's a cop, unless he's got some kind of fucking search warrant, that's an invasion of privacy. All right? Unless he's got did I say even if he does have a search warrant? Unless he's got a search warrant, that's invasion of privacy.
But of course, it only gets worse. Not only was this man neither arrested nor given the mental help he clearly needed, law enforcement thought it reasonable to return the weapons they confiscated from Travis Ranking, leaving them in the possession of his father.
Yeah, this is where Francis, of all fucking people, Francis, a TYT jerk-off, the young jerks, actually, I think this is where he might actually get it right, and I can agree with him on this. You know, don't let the video explode on you, folks.
So again, let's review it all. We have a long history of troubling behaviour, of which his family or those within his community didn't seem bothered enough to report thoroughly or follow through on, because of course, as family friends said, he didn't seem like a violent person.
Okay. Oh, okay, well, yeah, let's just call the cops on him, even though he doesn't seem like a violent person. Let's report him to the psychs. You know what, Francis, I don't know which is worse, the family not reporting him if they did see that he had some psychological issues, or the cops knowing, having 45, the cops and including the FBI had 45 calls to their offices saying, hey, this person poses a credible threat. All right. What's worse, Francis? The family not and the community not reporting, or the cops knowing about it and doing nothing? They're equally, well, actually, no, I'm sorry. I am not going to say that they're equally bad. Because I'm sorry, but when you're talking about family and community, hopefully what's going on there is that they have hope that this person can be helped. But when the cops have this information and don't do shit, like confiscate their guns, not that I necessarily agree with confiscations of guns without due process, that to me is worse.
Oh, really? Did he not, mate? Okay. So with all...
Yeah, you know what, Francis? It is possible for people to not show signs of violence and then just fucking snap. There's enough evidence out there to show that this has happened many, 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 many times. Stop being a... Oh, man, that's a great screen cap. Ready to receive.
All that in mind, the guns are then returned to his father, who's giving a stern warning of...
Oh, here it is. This is the point where I can agree with him.
Now, don't let little Travis play with them anymore, okay? Oh, my God. And the result, well, you know the result. Rankin used one of those return weapons to murder 4 innocent people at the Waffle House. And now, rightfully so, his father could potentially face charges for transferring weapons to a person knowingly prohibited from possessing them.
Yeah, and I actually hope that that his dad does get charged with something. You know, criminal negligence, I think, is one thing that they're talking about charging his father with. You know, yeah, and I don't disagree. The cop should have said, no, we're not going to transfer these to you, okay? That was a failure on the authorities' part. So then, this brings in the whole question of, how are these gun laws supposed to protect us? How are we supposed to be protected by these gun laws when the cops the authorities fell miserably at it? Jesus Christ, Francis, you people do not understand. By you people, I mean you young jerks. What am I saying? I'm the poo. The young turds. When you young turds don't, you want the government and fucking everything. And even when they show to be miserable failures at just about everything they fucking do. We've had it with Parkland. We've had it with the multiples of mass shootings that have happened over the last several years, where the government was warned. The FBI, that motherfucker at the Orlando nightclub, the FBI had flagged him, and they didn't do shit. Now maybe they couldn't do shit. I don't know. But you know what? They could have done something with the Parkland kid, and they didn't. So yeah, government tends to fail quite often. It fails more than it succeeds.
Really? What about accessory to murder? But
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Accessory to murder, whatever.
Hope you save room for the white privilege dessert.
Oh, here we go. Tasty dessert. Sorry. No thanks, Francis. I'm diabetic.
And that's how the authorities handled the shooter after he committed this heinous act. And I'm not just talking about him being taken alive and well. By now, that's just a given for a white perpetrator. No, we've...
Oh, shit. That's just a given. It's just a given. It's understood that when you're a white perpetrator, you are going to be taken alive. Yeah. Let's tell that to David Koresh. And that son of a bitch wasn't even charged with anything. Oh, gosh. I didn't think enough to pull up examples of when white shooters are killed instead of apprehended. But, what the fuck? Let's just deal with this. Let's deal with what I have managed to pull up, okay? So what I have for you folks here is I have several examples of when blacks who have committed murder have been apprehended by the cops. I don't do. You're never going to hear Francis talk about this shit. Okay, so this was Newsweek, and this was November of this last year. Who is Damon Allen? Suspect Debrett Black arrested after deadly police shooting in Texas. Oh, Jesus Christ, and I forgot one of the better ones. Oh, man. Oh, geez. I'm going to have to try to do this on the fly because I'm live recording, but let me see if I can do this real quick. Okay, just stick with me, folks, and we'll get on to Damon here. Dallas cop shooting. This happened just over the last few days. Here we go. And it's not that this guy was black, but he sure as hell wasn't white. He wasn't white either, folks. Actually, he was one of my homies. You know, he's one of the raza. Yeah, but we'll get to him in a second. Okay, and there's a reason I'm getting to that in particular. Okay, so let's see. Deadly police shooting. So this guy shot cops. Let's see. Authorities have nabbed the man that man they say fatally shot a Texas state trooper during a traffic stop on Thanksgiving following an hours-long manhunt. The Highway Patrol trooper Damon Allen pulled over the suspect, Debrett Montrell Black. Awkward. Thursday afternoon. Well, let me get back into my flow of reading here. Thursday afternoon for a traffic violation on an interstate south of Dallas when Black allegedly fired multiple shots at the officer and returned to his patrol car. Allen died at the scene as police searched for Black using a helicopter, night vision goggles, and lasers. I don't know why that guy. Yeah, it's because I'm racist. No, I'm not. Police engaged in a brief shootout with the suspect before he was apprehended in a neighboring county with the help of a canine. Authorities said. Yeah, can we just say dog? I mean, no, I get it. Oh, and here is Debrett Montrell Black. Is he white, folks? Well, his last name is Black. It's not white, but is the gentleman black or white? Oh, he's black. Oh, okay. So he was apprehended. He was arrested. Not shot and killed. I guess Mr. Montrell Black here suffers from white privilege. Let's look at some other cases of white privilege here. Oh, no, I love this one. This is a list. Rare gunmen, black mass shooters, but I thought only whites committed mass shootings. So, oh, hey, as a matter of fact, this is what it talks about. It's a misconception that African Americans do not commit mass killings like the Navy Yard shooting in Washington, D.C. While the number of black mass shooters is low, they do exist. Here's a list of 7 black mass shooters. Colin Ferguson. Now, let's see. Was he shot or was he apprehended? Well, we have a mugshot of him here. You can tell by the lines on the background. You know, that measures their height. Oh, pardon me. Ferguson opened fire on a crowded Long Island rail train in 1993, killing 6 people and injuring 19. In his pockets, police found scribbled notes in which Ferguson expressed his reasons for the shooting, including a previous arrest. Oh, so he got mad because he committed a crime and got arrested. Oh, Jesus. At the trial, whoa. There was a trial? There was a trial instead of a funeral? Oh. So he was apprehended. Oh. Wow, he was sentenced to 315 years to life. And oh, Jesus, man, the sentencings that they hand out to people, it's just crazy. 315 years to life. Are they going to keep him alive for 315 years and then let him die of natural causes? Holy shit. Omar S. Thornton. Let's see. Okay, now this guy, he killed some people and killed 8 people before turning the gun on himself. So the cops didn't even shoot this son of a bitch. Maurice Clemens, I think I remember this guy. Shortly after being released from prison, Clemens shot and killed 4 police officers in Parkland, Washington. Jesus. Clemens managed to evade police. Now, this guy was shot and killed by officers in Seattle. Now, that does tend to happen, I think. I don't know for a fact, but when you hear shit, cop killers usually tend to not survive the police. But Damon Barrett Black, Oh, Montreal. I wonder if they pronounced it Montreal. Nathan Dunlap. Let's see. What happened to this guy? Shot and killed 4 people in Aurora, Colorado. Oh, isn't that where the movie theater guy shot up people? Okay. He went to a Chuck E. Cheese's? What a sick bastard. Yes, the same. Oh, okay. This answers my question. Yes, the same city in which James Holmes opened fired. Okay. Dunlap was sentenced to death. So not death by cop. He was apprehended by the police, had a trial, and got sentenced to death. Look at this shit. The governor of the time, John Hickenlooper, delayed his sentence indefinitely in May 2013. What a fucking jerk. John Alad Muhammad. Hey, I remember this motherfucker. Yeah, the DC sniper. The mastermind of the 2003 Beltway sniper attacks. Oh, Jesus Christ. I remember that shit. I actually worked with somebody who had an aunt that was directly affected by this. I think she was only shot. She wasn't killed. Oh, man. Anyway. And he had a buddy, Lee Boyd Malvo. They killed 10 people. During the trial. Oh. He had a trial? Hey, he killed more people than the Waffle House kid. And he got a trial. Why wasn't he killed by the cops? Well, it's almost as if the cops actually tried to apprehend suspects regardless of their skin color. Holy shit. Lee Boyd Malvo, he had a trial. He had a trial too. Let's see, in his confession. Oh, he was able to confess? Did he confess before or after the cops shot him? Well, it had to. Well, he could have confessed. He could have lived through the shooting and then confessed and then died. He could have expired then. But no, he is actually serving 6 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. Death by cop. Hey, I remember Christopher Dorner. Former military man. Let's see. Dorner died of a self-inflicted gunshot during a standoff with police. That's right. Oh, but that's got to be a conspiracy. The cops must have shot him. Let's see. List of famous black serial killers. Why did I pull this up? I don't remember. I think I was just looking for some shit. So this is Henry Louis Wallace. And by no means, folks, am I trying to glorify these people. I mean, fuck them. I wish they were burning in hell right now. As of 2016, he's serving his time on death row. Carl Eugene Watts. I'm dyslexic. Watts died of cancer while... Oh, Jesus. Not death by cop, death by cancer. Chester Turner. Let's see. Turner has been sentenced to... He is currently on death row. Derek Todd Lee. What happened to this guy? He was sentenced to death for his horrific crimes, but he died in the hospital where he was taken for an emergency treatment. Jesus. Holy shit, this motherfucker looks scary. Holy shit. And he's Hispanic colored enough to where I can say he looks like a scary Hispanic guy. Anyway, Paul DeRosier. That's probably all kinds of incorrect. Let's see what happened to him. Probably met several of his victims when he was sentenced to death and is currently serving time on death. Fuck, can we just kill these fuckers? So he didn't die by cop. Lorenzo Gilliard. Let's see. Am I making my point, folks? Gilliard was sentenced to life in prison without parole in 2007. Oh, there we go. His sentence is a total less than a year, and the court. Okay, so he's in jail. Holy shit! I don't even know where I am on this page. We're a little more than halfway down. Let's see. He was sentenced to 438 years. Oh, Jesus. Wow. I mean, I guess the reason why they give these kind of sentences is to kind of put a finer point on the severity of their crimes, but fuck. See, Ray Joseph Dandridge. Let's see. He was convicted of 3 consecutive. So it's almost as if, no blacks are ever put in, Jesus Christ, if what Francis is trying to insinuate here, the black prison population would be significantly less. You would think. Okay. So Tampa killings, suspect faces 4 counts of murder. Let's watch this real quick. Oh, fuck it. No, we don't need to watch this. Okay, the cops caught him. He's going on trial. This was back right after. Oh shit, that was like week after Thanksgiving. So yeah, they caught him. He is either going on trial or has been on trial. And I guess in one of the other stories kind of pointed this out that okay, so this happened just this week here in Dallas, and this guy who is not white, not black, but Hispanic, Armando Luis Juarez, 29. He was caught. He was arrested. Now, he shot two or three cops. I can't remember. One of them, unfortunately, died yesterday at 8/11. Oh, and guess what? The cop that died, also Hispanic. Irrelevant, really. But, yeah, okay. But yeah, let's talk about that white privilege. You know what? The crimes, not even crimes, the incidences in which Francis is pissing and shitting himself over with the Waffle House guy weren't even serious crimes. Up till the Waffle House, he had not done anything that was a serious crime, if a crime at all. And if it was a black guy, he definitely would have been shot. You know, it's just increasingly. This is Francis's. Well, actually, this is all the young turds on Facebook shtick. Is to claim racism in every fucking thing that happens. Only bring up the blacks and the poor blacks and what happens to them. And don't get me wrong, there has been systemic issues with black justice. Those are not as much of a problem, maybe still a problem, but you know what, gosh, Jesus Christ, basically anybody who doesn't have enough money for a good lawyer, and this is also not always true, but people without the money to afford a good lawyer usually tend to get fucked by the justice system. Not always, and I would even go as far as to say that does not happen at a very high percentage. Okay, there are a lot of good public defense attorneys that do great jobs, but when the evidence is mounted against your client's fucked. Let's just accept that. Let's get on with this. That's it. You're going to start?
Reached record privilege. According to jail records available online, Rankin was arrested and held initially in Nashville on a bond of $500,000 for each 4 murder charges.
But yeah, so he had $2 million bond.
Now this is not from The Onion. This is
yes, your chuckle fucking is a great argument.
Actually true. This man.
Oh wait, I can't. I chuckle fuck all the time. What am I talking about?
Murdered 4 people with an AR-15, shot others, was previously arrested at the.
And let's make sure that we point out that it's an AR-15.
White House, had a history of criminal activity, and yet he initially got bond. Now it was a decision.
Yeah, and why do you think that is? Just because he's white? No. I don't have the tab pulled up here, folks, but I did read it. The law, the Constitution, Tennessee's Constitution, says that everyone who is not, I can't remember specifically what kind of crime, but basically the law comes down to everybody is offered a bond. Now, I think it had to do something with capital offenses, which I do believe murder is a capital offense. I do believe that is. So yeah, I would tend to agree that if this qualifies for what would not qualify for a bond, then yes, the bond was issued in error. And that might be why it was revoked. God forbid, Francis, anyone make a fucking error, right? But generally speaking, Tennessee law requires that any criminal suspect is granted a bond. And for fuck's sakes, let's focus in on the fact that that a bond was issued and just ignore that it was a $2 million bond. This motherfucker, nobody in his sphere of influence has that money to spring him. And even if somebody wanted to, who had the means to spring him on that bond, which nobody would, doesn't mean, even if they wanted to, it would look really bad for them to try to pay this kid's bond. I think what you're missing is the fact that it was a bond he was never going to be able to pay anyway. But then it was revoked. Okay? If I'm understanding the Tennessee Constitution, there was no way that motherfucker was paying the bond. He wasn't getting out. For fuck's sakes. Well, he was given a bond. You know, I don't know who this character is, but somebody pointed out that some sports figure who goes by the nickname of Meek was denied a bond when he was arrested for, I don't know, the 4th or 5th time. Yeah, he was denied bond, and then they made this comparison with the Riking here about how he managed to get a bond. Yeah, it was a $2 million bond. If Meek, if he's a pro sports figure, was given a $2 million bond, he could have paid it. And he could have been out. Or somebody. But it turns out, from what I hear, is that whatever sports organization that he plays for, that organization managed to get him out. And I think the charges were even reversed. Okay, again, just by what I've glanced at, either way, it was a false equivalence. 2 different situations, 2 very different people. One didn't really have a criminal record. The other did. You figure it out.
That was eventually overturned only after public outrage. But after all this, I do want to end.
Yeah, only after public outrage. I mean, can you prove that it was after public outrage? Jesus. Again, Francis, people make errors. It's not because the fucking kid is white. It's because it's fucking Tennessee law, you dipshit.
On a different note, I'm not suggesting that brutal force should have been used on this man. I mean, the way police treated Eric Gardner or Terrence Crutcher or stuff.
Eric Gardner was defying the cops. He was not being compliant. Okay? And like it or not, Francis, if you are a suspected criminal or suspected of wrongdoing, when the cops start giving you orders, like it or not, just fucking comply. Jesus, I would just as soon comply with the cops, no matter how wrong they may be, out of the hope of making it through the whole freaking confrontation alive, than trying to tell them, fuck you, you're wrong. Let me see, which one's going to keep me alive?
Vaughn Clark, I've continuously vowed that I...
Yeah, bring up that fucking shot, because come to find out by the toxicology reports that motherfucker was doped out of his mind. Oh, and the cop who shot him was let off. But let me guess, more systematic oppression.
I would rather police don't use brutal force, but I'm simply asking, time and time again, why white mass shooters are treated with kid gloves.
Why are the black mass shooters or killers treated with kid gloves? I've given you evidence that happens. Fuck this guy. Let me see, where did I do? Oh, 30 seconds left, guys. 30 seconds left. I made it. The 30 seconds, I can say I made it. It's a very high percentage of the video. Well, everyone, that's going to do it for this episode of Who Flunk Poo. Do apologize that it was a long one, but what can I say? I'm a bit verbose. Not the most articulate, but verbose, yes. But I hope you enjoyed what I had to say. And I felt like I didn't chuckle fuck this one as much as I did the Hassan Piker video. Either way, if you managed to make it through this and liked what you heard, please feel free to give a subscribe, share this video, give it a thumbs, or none of the above. But again, I do thank you for taking the time to watch this, listen to it, enjoy it, whatever. And we will catch you next time real quick with the school semester winding down for me. Hopefully over the summer at least, I will try to get in at least 1 or 2 streams a month on the Poo Tang live stream. That's right, Poo Tang, not Poon Tang. Get it straight. And get a couple of guests on each one. And we'll just dissect some whatever is floating out there that is popular in socio-political circles. So feel free to join in on that one. I will be sending announcements. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. And y'all take care. Bye.